Our podcast name is Bozo, based in our condo. Get ready, cause our show is starting really pronto. Talking tons about stuff we all like. Give us a listen, let me tell ya, we don't bite. We know your mind will be jumping super high as you hear us making light of our lives. Time spots, frequencies, and energies. Time spots, frequencies, and energies. Get us thinking about space, poo-poo, and pee-pee. Come on, 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 come on. Look at the sky and listen.
Welcome back. We're on Season 2, Episode 3 of PodcastBozo. Today is 9/27/2020. Fun fact, a musician named Jim Sullivan disappeared 6 years after recording an album called UFO. The only thing that was remaining of him was his car in New Mexico. Shout out to Colton S. for being a loyal listener this week. I am your host, JJ, and soon we'll be joined with Sean, who is a certified beer server, Eli, who is our resident artist, and today we'll be talking about conspiracy theories, and just about anything under the sun that Robin wants to talk about. Just one last thing, we have activity off the sound waves. You can find us using at PodcastBozo or Bozo Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, at Bozo Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Not to mention, you can observe our beautiful faces and Robin's on YouTube now. Robin, one thing you'll learn about me in this podcast is I cannot say words correctly, which is an ironic factor for a podcast.
Oh, that's okay. My English ain't great either, so.
Yeah. You know what? It's all language is interpretive, and I'm just trying to express my feelings. That's all. So if it's not the exact words you identify with, then
as long as we get the feeling, I think.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
So Robin, just so we know, is our special guest today. We really appreciate you coming on, Robin. We love space and we love talking about science and like theoretic. We love conspiracy theories, and that really juxtaposes itself with space and science. Which
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. I do. I think. Yeah. The word conspiracy has been dragged through the mud as well. So I think. Yeah. Nothing has good branding right now when it comes to the conspiracy stuff. But space unfortunately does come along with, I would call it a million questions. Let's call it that.
Yeah, at the least.
Yeah, at the least.
Yeah. So I mean, Robin, first of all, how do you say your last name? I don't want to mess it up.
Oh, Seamangle.
Seamangle. All right. Just so you know.
Just call me Robin, though.
Robin, yeah. So you used to work for Observer as a NASA correspondent at Kennedy Space Station and for Wired, and now you have your own publication called Supercluster, where you work with a lot of talented people, obviously.
Yeah. We have the best, and I can say that now. I think we have the best space journalists writing for us, and we have the best rocket photographers in the world, by far. And it's something we've really worked hard to do to gather that team. While I love talking about the company itself, I'll prefer to talk about the community, because we're just a part of a bigger community. And the Cape Canaveral in Florida is where we all do our work. It's a lot of different creators and artists. And what we do is basically photograph, take video. We interview luminaries like Elon Musk and, all the astronauts that work for NASA. Right now at this particular time, we are launching humans from American soil again, which is fun because we get to go and watch those missions. And that's the big story right now when it comes to space flight and rocketry. We also work with the SETI community on the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. We actually dabble in UFO research a little bit too.
Could you explain what the SETI community is?
Yeah. SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
E is spelled out in the name.
You know I can't read, Jay.
He heard itis. So, yeah, it's a global network of scientists and researchers that are connected to those large arrays of dishes and communications networks that search the galaxy for signals from extraterrestrials. And there's SETI listening stations all around the world, but we work closely with Berkeley and a few other places here in the States that do serious research.
So just to be clear, SETI, those are those big dishes out there that look like radio dishes. I've heard a lot about that.
They are radio dishes. Radio dishes.
They just flat out are. Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I assume that I don't know enough about the science, so I have to compare to something that I understand.
It's good to ask questions. Yeah. It's really good to ask those questions because nobody knows everything. So it's good to ask about these things. And you guys definitely want to read up on SETI because you don't want to be the last ones to know that we made first contact.
Right.
You don't want to read it on Instagram. So I would definitely catch up on your SETI research and get, if you're into space news, then I would say that reading about SETI constantly is exciting. They are making a lot of headway.
Well, I mean, I know we're going to talk about conspiracy theories throughout this. And I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories revolving around SETI because sometimes they get blips and things like that, right? Or there's been a couple times specifically.
There's been false positives. There's been, there's also a lot of data that we haven't looked through yet. So
because it's so much data.
Right. And like a lot of the best case scenarios for finding a signal is 10, 20 years after we've gotten it. And a machine learning software has parsed through the data and found something like a repeating pattern or something.
Right.
And that's how it'll happen. It'll be kind of boring. And it'll take like 15 years to even make sense of what that pattern is or where it came from and things like that.
How much do you credit yourself on the science side of things? Like, do you because you've been a reporter in the field so much, what percentage of the science do you think you understand? Do you give yourself a lot of credit on that aspect?
When it's certain things, I studied airplane mechanics in high school, actually.
Oh, what?
I went to aviation high school in Long Island City, New York. It's a special high school. Where they train you how to work on, engines and the skin of aircrafts. And we had our own hangar and stuff. It was like Xavier Institute. Like we had a hangar. Badass. We had a couple of fighter jets. We had a couple of Cessnas. We had a police helicopter. We had a bunch of really cool engines. But that's what I studied in high school. So when it comes to the Falcon 9, the SpaceX's rocket, I like to think that I understand fully what's happening there as much as that's public. But I also, I've worked with the company for so long covering their missions and stuff and writing about the iterations of their rocket for like 5 years. Right. That's longer than a college education. So I like to think that in a year or two, I'll have a PhD equivalent of understanding the Falcon 9 rocket. I don't understand other rockets like ULA's rockets and Northrop Grumman's rockets because those are dinosaurs. Like they are ancient technology. And there's no reason for me to learn anything about rockets that should be made redundant sooner or later. They're not reusable. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, there's
no point in learning. There's no point in learning about that.
Yeah, if they're not reusable, there's no relevance as soon as they launch, No,
you don't build the most complex machine known to man and then throw it away after one use.
Yeah.
And when Elon Musk said this to the space industry, they were like, "Oh, shut up, Elon." And now look where we are.
Yeah. Good point.
Fully reuse. Yeah. So
feel like Elon gets that a lot in his career. People are just shut up.
He does. I mean, sometimes though, please. Not.
Yeah, I mean, there's a good reason for criticism. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes dreamers have dreams that are unachievable at the moment, at least.
Yeah. At the moment. It's all an engineering problem, he would say.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, he's all over the place. He's an incredible person.
All right. So you guys wanted to talk about aliens. Actually, today is September 27th. I might be a day or two off, but I believe this is the 1 year anniversary, or maybe a day off, of when I was down in Texas with Elon and a couple of my colleagues, and we were visiting the Starship down in Texas. And
what's the Starship?
It's the spacecraft that SpaceX is building to take humans to Mars.
The Mars. Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's being built on the border of Mexico and Texas, down in Boca Chica. So anyway, we were down there. And we all had chances to ask Elon questions and stuff. It was a broadcast live. And I did ask, I think, a normal question. And I don't even remember what it was. But I did also ask Elon about aliens, because he did bring something up during the presentation. He's like, by the way, he went into this tangent during his presentation on Mars where he's like, by the way, guys, there's no one said anything to me about aliens, because we know that Elon works with NASA and the Air Force and the government. He's like, so he went off into a random tangent during a scripted thing, and he was like, hey, by the way, there's no aliens. And I was like, that was really random, Elon. So I waited till that was over. Yeah, I was like, that's suspect. So afterwards, I was like, come on, Elon, what do you mean? I accused him in front of everyone of lying about it. And it was whenever Elon and I have an interaction, it's always a moment of levity. And I always ask something fun to lighten the situation and get. I can also get some cool news out of him too, but I was like, listen, dude, tell us if there's aliens. And he's like, no, man, I swear, no, so
yeah, okay,
yeah, exactly. So I was like, all right, whatever, I'll get you another time. But yeah, and then where was it? 4 years ago today, we were all in Mexico, and Elon Musk, myself, my girlfriend, and a couple of my closest friends. One of my closest pals, Daniel Oberhaus, he's the space reporter for Wired. He was there too. And Elon gave his first speech then in Mexico. And I think that night we all talked about SETI instead, because SETI also gave a presentation there. And they also didn't give a presentation they were supposed to. So Let me run you through this real quick.
Yeah.
A couple months before, SpaceX had an explosion. They were grounded and they couldn't fly. So I had nothing to cover. So I started covering some SETI stories. And while everyone was watching the Video Music Awards that night, because I think it was Beyonce that was performing, everyone was watching it that night. And I came across a blog post from someone who looks into SETI stuff to the minute. And I'm going to mess up this story because it was a couple years ago.
That's all right. That would be best.
But the story was about a signal that was detected by Russian SETI scientists. And it got out, and I did a story about it in the New York Observer, and it went viral. And Joe Rogan pulled it up.
No way.
Yeah. And it went even more viral. So at the time, I worked for Jared Kushner at the New York Observer. Yeah. And he's really bad businessman.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know this. He had a bonus system for me that paid me out for traffic. And because Joe Rogan did that, I netted
so much traffic.
It got so much traffic that it was a small fortune that I got.
He paid you for traffic?
Yeah. He's a bad businessman.
Yeah. And he didn't really think through that one.
It was bonus traffic, and the numbers went through the roof. It broke their chart surf system. the observer, their like traffic system.
Wait, so that must have affected your pay if they stopped tracking it.
Nah, because I heard already they had a ceiling which they never thought anyone would hit. And
really?
I hit it.
Burst right through it.
Burst right through it. So they emailed me. They're like, we're stopping the, right now. I was like, all right, that's fine. So anyway, that story was huge. They were supposed to bring the follow-up to that story, the SETI scientists, to Mexico. And we were planning to meet with them there. Mm-hmm. And what the hell were these things? Did you look into them? The signals that they received. We never heard back about the story. We heard people posting on message boards like, It was this, it was that. It wasn't, aliens. It wasn't a signal from outer space. We never got definitive evidence. And the scientists never spoke about it again. And there was just a bunch of mixed messaging. But ultimately, they didn't show up to meet with us in Mexico.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, so talk about conspiracies.
Whole lot of noise.
But here's the thing. I'm not saying, they didn't show up or they buried the story because it was aliens. It could have been for a bunch of reasons. National security. It could have been a bullshit story. Maybe that's why they didn't want to be embarrassed that they made a big huff and puff about nothing. So it could have been a handful of good reasons why they didn't. Yeah. One of them being it was fucking aliens.
Yeah.
True.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, if Elon is so quick to say there ain't no aliens, then
here's the thing. I think Elon is very focused, and I think for that reason he wouldn't know. He's a really focused guy on Tesla and SpaceX, and he doesn't get distracted by bullshit like that. I think even if there was aliens and the government had spaceships, I think Elon would still force SpaceX to spend the next 25 years iterating the Falcon 9 until it was warp capable.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter to him.
Man.
What's up? We got Cheek who's just joined us right here.
How you doing, guys?
Nice to meet each other. Cheek,
hello,
turn your
Robin.
mic up just a teeny bit or talk closer to it. I can't hear you.
How y'all doing?
That's good. Cheek isn't much, so just don't worry about him.
He just likes to watch. He's not going to chime in much.
Oh, he's one of those.
Yeah. I'm actually in my closet right now.
Whose closet?
Both figuratively and literally.
Cheek, get out of Robin's closet.
Yeah, you want to talk about investigative reporting? Yeah, we planted a guy in the guy that we're hosting
behind the scenes.
Oh well, Cheek. We're talking about Elon Musk and how he Elon Musk
not telling us the truth about aliens.
He's not telling us the truth. Elon Musk isn't telling us the truth, which is fine. I get it. There's reasons.
He suspiciously denied
is
aliens.
That he doesn't know. He doesn't know something.
He's not admitting that he doesn't know. Which none of us would believe in the first place.
We are talking about conspiracies. So I just want to say that during the pandemic, I moved to Arlington, Virginia, and I live 5 minutes from the White House. And let me tell you, this whole Masonic Freemason creepiness is creepy. It's creepy. Yeah. There's symbols. I've heard about it. I saw National Treasure. I saw those skulls. I saw whatever movies talked about it. And I get it. It's whatever, but it's kind of weird. I just want to put that out there.
I'm sure. I mean, you're in the heart of it. Like if they're gonna people who are gonna meet.
I'm 3 blocks from Arlington Cemetery. Or like 4 blocks or something.
That's where all the scariness happens.
Yeah, so I'm a little, so just wanted to pull that conspiracy out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That, the Freemasons designed DC to look like a pentagram or some shit.
Yeah.
God knows. I don't know. I'm not saying that, but I just want to say my point is it's creepy.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
If demons started rising from Washington, D.C.
Here's the thing. They put so much damn work into making the city the shape of a pentagram or whatever that the highways and the roads are trash.
Yeah.
It's impossible to drive here. The traffic is like a parking lot all day long. And the GPS, like Google and Waze, doesn't even know what the fuck is going on half the time you're driving out there.
They don't know how to follow it. Yeah.
It's just the roads are confused.
Fucking Masons.
No, the Freemasons. I don't know a ton about Freemasons.
The Freemasons have like a thing. Me neither. I just know that they helped design DC or something, or I don't know.
Fair enough.
I've heard an amalgam of conspiracies about.
So I'm looking it up right now.
Internet bad guys. Let me.
We're having some skipping. I didn't know who to blame for it.
I think my internet is like weird right now because I started talking shit about.
No, yeah.
Yeah, the FBI is listening and they're pissed.
I've always wanted the FBI to listen to me. I feel like I have some things that I have to say.
Hey, hold on. I usually tell people this, but as soon as you book me on your show or whatever, that is permanent. You're on the NSA list forever now.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I've always wanted that. Let me get naked. Yeah.
Well, that's one way to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Say really awful shit. Play like the worst album of all time 24/7.
Yeah. I got the Wiggles on tap over here, so we can start.
We actually do.
I've got Folklore by Taylor Swift on repeat.
Oh, cheek, lay off.
We were talking about conspiracy theories, and I think before the show I told you guys. So I'm just going to outright say flat earthers, they have like severe brain damage or something. Let's just put that out there. 2, moon people, I get where you're coming from. A failure in education and lack of resources to educate the public about NASA and the moon landing and science can lead to conspiracy theories about the moon landing. But let me tell you, I have lived at Kennedy Space Center for 5 years.
Yeah.
These bastards couldn't fake anything. You know what I mean? The complexity.
They're too stupid to fake it.
Yeah.
It's not that they're stupid. It's just that it can't shut up. Everyone.
They're so proud of it.
Yeah, everyone talks. And if they faked the moon landing, we would know. And let me tell you, the rocket launch happened. I can go outside. I could go to my friend's house who has a really sick telescope and look at some of the stuff that we left on the moon. So I don't understand.
What do we leave there? Like trash, or are you talking just footprints and stuff and the flag?
Specifically, we left mirrors.
Really?
Yeah, just to have a reflector. That was part of an experiment. So they've done that. They've seen the lander. Like it's all there.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's cool. I know that.
Well, there's so much visual evidence.
That's all assuming you believe that the moon is real.
That too.
That's what he. All right.
That's a hologram, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, we live in an age where, there are people who, the flat earthers don't believe the moon is real. Right? Isn't that part of the shtick?
Yeah, it is.
It's a ball of fucking Gouda cheese or some shit. That's what they think, right?
Well, they think it's all a Hollywood. Well, I don't know. I don't mean to speak for all flat earthers, but Sean and I.
You don't want to disrespect that community.
I don't want to pose on flat earth community.
But Sean and I, Cheek and I, who is the guy on the other screen, did a lot of research into flat earth because I'm so fascinated by these theories and like the thought process of getting into them, what makes you be a conspiracy theorist in general. But the flat earth one is so funny to me because there's we know about this almost more than we know about our own oceans, we know how to get into
That is a true fact.
Yeah.
We know more about the moon. I think we know more about parts of the moon and our relationship with the moon than we do about the deep, deep ocean. But we have a lot to learn about the moon. I do have to admit that. It does. Here's the notion. The notion is that we learned everything that we could about the moon. And because the people think that, because we stopped going in 1972. So it's easy to assume, they stopped going because all they found was Coke. You know what I mean? Actually, they found Coke. They'd
keep going.
Would be gone.
We'd be going.
It would be gone by now. The moon would be gone by now.
Pablo Escobar would have a private jet to and from the moon if cocaine was on the moon.
Tunnel to the moon.
We'd be living in a utopia by now. But we stopped going to the moon because we wanted to build a space shuttle and build the International Space Station, which makes sense. But I think people assume that the reason we stopped going is because we didn't care anymore. But the reason is because we got distracted and we wanted to keep going to the moon. But it was like, oh, we need to do this real quick. We need to build a space station real quick, establish a permanent presence in orbit, which is what we have right now. And it's a really good choice they made back then to do that. But some would argue that we would have a base on the moon right now instead if we kept going to the moon. So that's also an argument to be made. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that there's still a shit ton to be learned about the moon, especially the far side. The Indians discovered water on the moon like 10 years ago, and we are like studying that area, you know?
Whoa. That's something news. I didn't know until like, I don't know, a year ago. And you think I would know that immediately. It's just not topical at the moment.
No. I mean, news is, especially right now, it's hard to get space news into the mainstream. It's impossible, actually. So, yeah, reaching people who don't read space news every day is almost impossible. And I think the general public misses 98% of, I think, critical space news.
Yeah. How would they get that news? By subscribing to
if somebody wanted to.
Yes, I mean, yes, you could do that, but read the science section of the New York Times. You know, I don't need to plug my company. I never do.
Yeah. By the way, I love your merchandise. Not to plug your company, but your merchandise is so funny.
Yeah, I love it.
You guys sell.
That is Grand Army. Eric Collins, my partner, he's the one who came up with the idea of supercluster, and he does a lot of the work when it comes to our design and our identity, and the products he creates they're works of art. So. Yeah, they're amazing. We just put out some products that were like $1,000, and that was like our most priciest product that we've ever put out. But yeah,
I was looking at that. I saw
that's priced because it's art. We don't make money off our products. We sell patches for like $5 or $10. We sell, you know, our stuff is priced to sell. We sell posters for $10. Like,
I want to get one of your I don't know what to call them, your sheets of with like the
LSD.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't know if I should say it out loud.
Without the LSD.
Yeah. Sans LSD, as they would say in French.
What?
Yeah. So Ken
Kesey, I send this to you.
Ken Kesey is an author who wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Wait, I'm getting a little weird interference. Movie. There we go. And so his son Zane Kesey worked with us to make. So Ken Kesey, as an author, also wrote the Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test, which was about all the people who invented like acid and experimented and made it a culture. So
Ken Kesey he had a big connection with the Dead and the Merry Pranksters, who were a group of people.
How does it always come back to the Grateful Dead with you, Sean? How does that
it doesn't always come back. I can make a connection and talk about that. I'm familiar with the Merry Pranksters.
They're mentioned in his writings and stuff, But anyway, so we worked. So during that time, they also made blotter paper art. It was an art form. A lot of it was cosmic. So we worked with Zane Kesey to recreate blotter LSD art. We do a lot of. We're trying to do a lot of counterculture things like that. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's cool.
We only made like 30 of them, and there unfortunately does not have LSD on it.
Yeah. Well, that future legislation, maybe.
Maybe in 10 years. Hey, if they ever legalize that, I am going full production into LSD blotter. Full on production.
Well, one thing that is so weird. Okay, I just came up with a weird analogy in my head, but like, golf has been going out of style. I know you've been watching the Challenger series. Obviously, I stalked you on Twitter so I could sound like we know what we're talking about here. But I watched the Challenger series, and one thing that I took away from that, before I go back to the golf analogy, was that people back when the Challenger was launching and the spacecrafts before that were so freaking excited to see that stuff. Like, people were inspired by it, and I still am, but like people would pull over on the side of highways to watch it. Like, people were inspired by it. It was popular, it was new, you know. And like, now it's become so routine. I was looking at NASA's schedule the other day, and they have launches like every 3 days type of thing, you know.
I mean, sometimes we have 3 launches scheduled in 3 days, back to back, like 3 miles from each other. That is the new age we live in. So 5 years ago, so you're talking about the 80s era and Challenger. Everyone was excited. America was excited about spaceflight.
It was so cool back then.
It was everything.
Yeah.
So the way I would compare that is 5 years ago, what were people always talking about? What was on the cover of magazines? Companies that ended up like becoming problematic. You have Twitter, Facebook. Like they were praising Mark Zuckerberg. They're praising all these, that dude, that frat boy from Snapchat. Like there's just Uber. Like these companies were worshipped. And while these companies took all the spotlight, SpaceX did something that was not done in 60 years. Yeah. They revolutionized the rocket. They did it. No one was paying attention. And like I was one of the few reporters to bed down at Kennedy so the reason I stayed, I left New York and I went down to Cape because I got this opportunity through NASA to do social media stuff through this program of a random launch. I had no idea what Elon Musk was doing there. And when I got there, they were talking about the launch and they were like, there was a SpaceX representative and no one was paying attention to the SpaceX representative because no one cared. Everyone was there to talk to NASA scientists and stuff. You know what I mean?
It wasn't relevant.
Nobody knew who SpaceX was. They were just like, oh, we're launching a cargo mission for NASA. Great. But later on, the representative was like, we're going to try to land the rocket. And I was like, hold on, what? They're like, we're going to try to land the rocket. They'd never done it before this mission. Yeah. Or attempted it on a drone ship. And I was like, I want to watch this missile blow up a ship. Here's the thing. I have a large gap between my avionics career and when I showed up at Kennedy. A very large gap. But I knew
your avionics.
Yeah, I knew the physics. I was like, I had an understanding of the physics and the engineering at like a very base level. And I was like, they're just going to shoot a missile at a boat. That's what's happening here. Like they're going to slingshot it from orbit and it's going to dive like a missile. Yeah. And here's what happened. That's what happened. It just didn't blow up the ship.
It just stopped at the ship.
It blew up on the ship, basically. Yeah. Which was fine.
That's revolutionary right there.
Yeah. And it was so when I watched it happen, I watched the launch. Okay. The launch itself, 50 people started in the program. Back then, the launch cadence of SpaceX was non-existent. Yeah. So you know how long it took us to work that launch? 6 weeks. It's really from October.
That was the cadence back then?
Yeah.
Or not even that long ago, really. But
yeah, so they were scheduled to launch on December 18th, I believe, or something like that. And it's scrubbed into a whole ass new year, January 10th or something. And actually it was a little longer. I can't remember the dates, but yeah, I stuck it through. There were only 5 people left in that program. And 2 of us remain till today, 5 years later. Like working up, sticking around. I never came back home after that. I stuck around and I started covering missions at Cape Canaveral. But while all those other companies were getting coverage for like products that were just exploiting people, SpaceX was not getting any coverage.
Yeah. Seriously, something that was scientifically,
it's a breakthrough. It was a breakthrough.
The issue is that Elon Musk and space have been politicized. And that was a word that I've struggled to say before this, but
space gets, I wouldn't say it gets politicized. I would say it gets dispatched when needed politically.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the back burner until there's nothing else happening, and then they throw that up on the screen. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Like people don't really, like, here's an example. Jim Bridenstine, the head of NASA, Trump's been wanting to fire him for like 2 years now. He just keeps forgetting.
Because he just says shit to make people happy.
It's on the front of his list.
Yeah.
Like, he's just like, yeah, no, that's what I heard. That he was meant to be fired, replaced a couple of times because people in Trump's orbit don't like Jim Bridenstine.
Do you know why that is?
Because we forced Jim Bridenstine to acknowledge climate change.
Ah.
And he did.
That's a tough pill to swallow, you know.
It's not just that. It's a lot of other stuff. I mean, it's a lot of other stuff too, but it's just stuff that I don't know about. But I've heard it was a lot of the language that doesn't vibe with the administration and a lot of different things.
Well, that's what I mean when I say it got politicized, is that like Trump doesn't believe in space research and space advance. And
I don't think I don't want to get political here. He doesn't believe in anything. Let's just put it at that.
Yeah, I think that's the most simple way to put that situation.
Trump is, his family is from 8 blocks from where my family is from in Queens. I know who he is. You know what I mean? My mom grew up seeing him in the city all the time. I think I met him like twice. Like I grew up in New York. I know who Trump is. I know who his family is. And let me tell you something. Not to mention like growing up. He doesn't believe in anything.
You know the kind of person that grows up in that neighborhood too, and like if that person became president, like these families, like that kind of thing. Like, yeah, I get that.
I know he's a New York businessman, and he's also, I don't want to say more than this, but I don't want to pull you. I don't want to. I don't think he gives a flying F about space exploration. That's what I'm trying to say here.
You can say fuck. My mom's not listening.
Yeah. Flying. I don't want to dirty the word fuck with next to Trump's name.
Yeah. You don't want to comb over fuck.
Leave the word Trump.
Fuck.
And I'm sure you have. I'm sorry that Trump. I'm sure you have some Trump supporters that probably listen to your show, and I don't know your guys' politics.
I take that personally. We have no Trump supporters who listen to the show, okay?
In space exploration, let me tell you, buddy, I have to work with Trump supporters. Yeah. And a lot of not a lot, I would say superclusters are we're clearly liberal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are, we're progressive. We believe that in diversity and inclusion. We believe in all that. We're hippies.
Yeah.
But like,
us too.
So I know for some reason we still do have Trump supporters, and that's fine. Space
good.
Has always been somewhere that unifies people, but it also hurts space because like we're not part of society, right? Because we don't embrace politics. So I tell you right now, a lot of space people are going to vote for Trump. So I know I'm sure people think that space is like, my girlfriend's texting me right now telling me I got to stop talking about this.
Really? She should come on. I want to hear her opinion too on this. Obviously, it's interesting to hear from both sides. But
all right. Let me just say one more thing. She's my public relations official.
Is she actually?
No.
No.
You get what I'm saying.
Your life. Yeah.
I'll just say this. Yeah. Look, space people are going to vote for Trump. Space people are going to vote for Biden. But most space people donated to Bernie. So
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Take home my
Vermont guy.
My friend
is down the street. I saw him 2 weeks ago on Church Street.
Don't worry, this isn't a real podcast. Sorry.
Hey! Hold on. We are a real podcast.
I've got 2 questions. I've got 2 questions coming up. So I've got one that's a little bit more on the serious side and one that's very much not. I'm going to do the serious one first. So before we were talking about exploration of the moon and how we stopped going there to, go to create the space station, that presence and whatnot. Do you think that we should not be trying to tackle both the moon and Mars and dwindling our potential resources from one or the other, and we should just focus on moon or the Mars? Or do you think, with, space exploration potentially, or it is privatized now, let the private companies do what they want? And I mean, what's your take on that?
I think there's enough entities to do both. I think so. Blue Origin, that's Jeff Bezos' company. Mm-hmm. They're really, really behind SpaceX in development and in milestones. But he does have this really cool vision of building up the moon and building up orbit, which is great. Yeah. I think there needs to be infrastructure. There needs to be mass production. There needs to be all that kind of cool stuff in orbit. And I think Bezos has the money and the resources to get it done eventually. I don't know what's taking them so long, but they're really behind in development. And they were started before SpaceX, and they're about 10 years behind SpaceX.
Really?
In technological development, yeah. So when you're talking about where SpaceX can launch and where Blue Origin can launch, it's apples and oranges. Like suborbital flight, I mean, we've been doing that for 60 years.
So you're saying let's let Elon go to chase Mars and let's focus.
But if you look at how they developed their technology, they could accidentally reach the moon first before before Jeff Bezos and NASA. But what's great is NASA already foresaw that, and they're making a deal with SpaceX. If they can get their human launch system developed in time and at a good cost, SpaceX will be launching the first humans to return to the moon since Apollo. And that will help SpaceX get to Mars faster.
Yeah.
So you're saying like the iteratory process of SpaceX will probably take us to the moon before we go to Mars type of thing?
Yeah, because moon is kind of the moon is part of everyone's plan to like get to Mars. It's like a stopover. It's like a good place to practice. Stone. Yeah, it's a good stepping stone. And here's the thing. NASA is offering a pretty penny to whoever can get humans back to the moon. Why would SpaceX turn down that money?
Right.
They could use that. Getting to Mars is going to be the most technologically challenging, expensive effort that humans have ever attempted, ever.
Yeah.
There's nothing that we've built on Earth that will be as complex or as dangerous as getting to Mars. And I know you're going to say the pyramids, slave labor, you could get anything done.
That was right on my mind.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
well, aliens built the pyramids.
Aliens built the pyramids. Remember that. And also, use slave labor, you could get anything done. So I'm talking about real ethical manufacturing and development. And
getting there in a way we can all.
Yeah, and here's another thing. It's ethical development and manufacturing is important in space, because in space, we're going to be building a new future for ourselves. We have to make sure we don't repeat the mistakes that we've made here. And Jeff Bezos, unfortunately, does make a lot of those mistakes. And Elon has made a lot of mistakes, and NASA has made a lot of mistakes. So everyone is on a learning curve.
One interesting thing about space exploration is that like it's all right for me. First of all, the politics of space exploration are very interesting to me. When you go to Florida and you have a lot of Republican-minded people, but I feel like today a Republican-minded idea is taking away funding from NASA. But in Florida, you have to be more invested being in Florida when all this stuff is launching from there, when this is like the epicenter. So it creates this like dichotomy of that that kind of idea. So I don't know. What's your feeling on that? Do you feel like that creates like a cross section for? Is that a Jewel, by the way? I don't want to call you out, but
what is this?
Yeah.
No, this is. I don't know the name of it. But even if I did, I wouldn't say it because then people would be like, ugh.
He's plugging it. Yeah. Never mind.
If I'm going to plug something.
Yeah, plug something. We love when people plug
my buddy's book is out in like Barnes & Noble and stuff. Extraterrestrial Languages. That is a really extraterrestrial languages.
Can you give us a synopsis?
He goes into all the different ways that we've come up with to talk to aliens when we do make first contact. Or like stuff like that.
So kind of like that movie, it has to do with that movie Arrival with who was in that movie? Amy Adams. Yeah.
Also, I have this book near me. It's Max Brooks' De-Evolution. Did anyone read World War Z or the Zombie Survival Guide?
I didn't
saw the movie, didn't read it.
Yeah.
This is it's told in the same way, and it's about Sasquatches revealing themselves to humans when there's a natural disaster.
Whoa.
Interesting.
It's really good.
What's the logic behind that? Explain that to me.
Mount Rainier erupts in the northwest, and it disrupts a hidden Sasquatch habitat. And of course, these Silicon Valley assholes built like a futuristic hometown nearby at the base of the mountain to try and be like eco-friendly and drive Teslas to each other's houses. And the eruption of the mountain screws up their lives and seals them off from the rest of society, and then the Sasquatch families attack.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, it's a sick.
That is an innovative theme.
Sold.
That is an awesome idea right there.
I would definitely suggest, even if you saw World War Z, the book is nothing like the movie at all.
Okay.
It's like the only thing they have in common is the title. So I would read that. Also, it's amazing.
All right, so
Robin, I gotta you first, Cheek.
I had one more question for you. Favorite all-time space movie?
Oh fuck. Contact. I have to give you a list because I love Contact.
You've never answered this question before? I feel like this would be a common question for.
No, I have. I always. It's always a tough one though because like I want to say all of them.
Yeah.
So like I love.
Can't say that.
Robert Zemeckis' Contact is really great.
Give us a least favorite too.
My least favorite. Oh, that's.
Whoa.
No, that's cruel.
I'm gonna throw out my favorite.
Like
while
Tom Cruise Oblivion or something.
While you're wondering, my favorite right now is I love my '90s movies. Armageddon, a little Bruce Willis action.
Here's the thing: space people low key love Armageddon.
It's a phenomenal movie. Yeah. I rewatched it a week ago.
Yeah, no, that's a great space movie. And there's NASA's really proud of their collaboration with the studio on that movie. When I visited Johnson, there were Armageddon posters on the wall. And at Kennedy Space Center, there's like special effects awards and things like that, referencing them filming the movie down there.
That's
Robin,
awesome.
you I just lost my train of thought. Never mind. You go ahead. You go.
Yeah, I just wanted to get one last question before you go. What are you most psyched about in the future of space?
There's two things. One, I believe SpaceX is on track to get to Mars in like 10 years, which is really exciting.
Really?
To
Landing
get there?
on Mars in 10 years?
To get
The
there?
first humans will touch. It's 2020.
Was it like a 3 or 4 year journey?
I would say in 2030 or 2031, 10 years from now, humans will land on Mars, the first crew, which will be great.
Wow.
I also believe in the next 10 years that we will make first contact with an alien species.
So
if we
you
haven't
don't
already.
think we've already made contact?
No, when I say first contact, I mean like official, like it's public and people believe it. It's on the fucking news. Like, I don't know. I'm not talking about some cigarette smoking man in an office at the FBI. Like a real, legit handshake, public. Newspapers cover it. People write about it. It's a cultural event. I'm not in a basement at like Area 51 or some shit. No.
Do you look forward to that? Do you think that
I hope to be on the forefront of that, like eventually. But yeah, I think that that's going to happen soon. Within the next 10 years, but I'm excited for that. I'm excited for both things. I think both us landing on it's crazy to say, but us landing on Mars, and I'll leave you with this thought because I'm probably pissed off too many people already. Getting to Mars, landing a human on Mars, and establishing contact with another species is the same goal. We're joining a larger community. We're expanding beyond our own planet. Talking to aliens for the first time and setting foot on another planet, it's the same breakthrough. So I'm chasing both as a person.
if you're a space explorer, would you rather find life or find a viable planet to live on?
I would rather find a planet to live on.
Yeah.
Because
you know life's out there.
Yeah, because it's not a question for me. There's the math, which I'm not great at, but there's billions and billions of galaxies. Each galaxy has billions and billions of stars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's out there.
Astronomically, it's absolutely statistically likely.
I think it's absolutely ignorant to think that humans are alone in the universe.
Right. It's far, far, far more unlikely that we're alone.
So
how big do you think intelligent life is compared to us?
Well, that's the thing. I
size?
think in our solar system, we're gonna encounter microbial life,
Right.
And like signs of life and things like that. But scale of the universe and scale of anything is different in different places. Like I was looking at a picture yesterday of a sun that's 20 times the size of our sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, think of how big that is. So think about the planets in orbit around that sun. Think about the things that live on that planet.
Everything's scaled larger, and we're already a dust of sand to that sun. Like
we don't know enough about the universe or the origins of life to know how different life will be in the universe. And I think that a lot of the theories, and it's funny because this is the Star Trek theory, the Roddenberry theory, is that physics and carbon and gold and a lot of the basics of our daily lives and the things that make up life and science and our surroundings are actually pretty similar in many of the places that we're discovering throughout the universe. So it's likely that we could encounter an intelligent species that's bipedal, 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head.
Yeah. Like us.
The scale might be a little different, but yeah, planets look the same everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? So here's the thing though. We haven't found life anywhere yet. And until we find life, we won't have anything to compare anything to, and we won't have a baseline. So
yeah. One thing I watched the Bob Lazar documentary for the 3rd time this morning.
Yeah, I love Bob.
For the 3rd time.
Have you talked to him directly?
No, only I just ordered some equipment from him though.
What do you mean?
I just ordered some simulant Mars soil that he makes. And he also makes this really crazy metallic substance that you can mess with. I forgot the name of it. And he builds these really cool solar powered cars. And I got one for my friend's birthday.
When did he start that? When did he start selling things like that?
He's been doing it forever. If you go to the website, the website, it's like you have to time travel to 1995 to use it.
Really?
XP
or
really
Windows
old.
95.
It's really, really, really old. But I love Bob, and I think I believe his story.
Yeah, I do too. One thing that I hate about watching documentaries about like that is I watch it and I basically think I think about all the questions I want to ask him that I don't think they're asking him. That's correct.
Well, what are the questions? Tell me the question.
Well, I was going to ask you what your questions are if you have anything like that. But,
I think he's answered. I feel like I don't have any. I feel like people I don't know if you watched. Joe Rogan has asked some good questions. The documentary is pretty good, but people ask him all the time to describe the alien spaceships and what they look like. He draws them for people on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's I don't know what's left to ask. I feel like my greedy self would ask can you recreate this? How do we recreate this technology? You know what I mean? What's the first step in recreating this technology? That's what I would ask him.
Well, obviously based on his story, that was his job, is how to reverse engineer that.
If I had $10 million, I would say, hey, Bob, here's 5. Can you even start rebuilding what you saw?
Just 5% of it. Make 5%.
That would be worth it. That would be worth the money to me.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Just even
where he started. If he started with the shape of the UFO or whatever. If I had $10 million, I would give it half of him to see if he could recreate whatever he saw.
Just skimming the surface of that technology.
He built a rocket engine in his driveway.
Yeah, this guy's obviously a genius, and people testify to that part.
Right.
And
what did Lazar do with $5 million?
Who knows? I mean, open a couple of prostitution clinics, that's for sure.
But the guy's a progressive. What can you say?
Yeah.
Maybe he could spend that money on hiring somebody other than Mickey Rourke to narrate his next documentary.
Wait, hold on. I like that.
That was Jeremy who hired Mickey Rourke.
I'm sure it was. I just think
cheek.
Look, Jeremy.
I just thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was ridiculous.
It was a little much.
If you're gonna get anybody, get Mickey Rourke. But look, I think that Jeremy, the guy who makes the film, I think he's a really great filmmaker. He just goes so extra on everything.
Yeah.
It's really he really dramatizes everything, which I think these kinds of documentaries, I think you should tone that down for.
It almost makes it less believable.
Yeah, I agree with that, Robin.
It's like I don't want to say it makes it a joke, but it's like cool it with the backlit like purple lights when you're being interviewed, like, and then like Mickey Rourke goes on like a monologue about who else is out there. What's in it? What's in each of us?
What's it all fucking about?
He's a crazy fucker.
He's an elusive person.
He tried taking down Iron Man. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
All right. I have one more minute. So.
All right. Make up a language for us. Go.
Make up a language?
Yeah.
Is that something you ask all your guests? Like,
no. But if you give us crunch time, I'm going to give you a crunch time task. So.
Look. If you're gonna talk to aliens, the first thing that you should say is something that don't say hello because you don't know if that's going to be offensive. Say that I like you, because I feel like if an alien is coming to Earth and they can have the technology to travel to our planet, that means they can stop somewhere and watch us. A civilization that has advanced travel technology also has advanced telecommunications technology. So they can tap our satellites and read our internet. So the internet is like a cesspool, and it's mostly pornography and hate. So when they arrive here, they're going to be very terrified. So when you meet an alien, just be like, listen, I like you. It's all good. So they know you're peaceful.
Fair enough.
Hey.
Fair enough.
I can dig it.
Word.
My advice to everyone.
Last question.
No, it's not much.
That's not life advice necessarily, but it
Eli's
is advice.
got one more for you.
Eli, do you have a question? Quick.
Fuck one, marry one, kill one. Bob Lazar, Little Alien Boys, Elon Musk.
I can't answer that. If an alien wanted to have sex with me, I would think about it.
Isn't your girlfriend in the other room? Yeah.
Eli, I'll answer that question for you.
I would marry Elon Musk.
I'm gonna fuck the little alien boy. I'm gonna marry Elon Musk, and I'm gonna kill Bob Lazar.
Oh man, come on.
All right.
Bob's in the past. Elon's to the future, and I want to see what's going on with those little alien boys. I'll tell you what.
Hey, true.
Jeez, Lou.
We're not sure.
Robin, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
Thank you for
being
talking
here.
to us.
Thanks for inviting me. It's been fun. I don't typically do podcasts like this, which was great. Good luck to the Buffalo Bills.
Hey yo.
Did any of them get coronavirus real quick?
No, there was a lot of
that
fake
I know of
news that they did, but they didn't. I
hope their Buffalo Bills are healthy, and I'm glad that my old team is still alive and their franchise is still going.
They're still alive.
Wait, I missed that. Who's Robin a fan of?
Robin's a
Bills.
Bills fan.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Look, he's wearing blue just for the sake of us.
Good.
So appreciate you guys having me on. To your listeners, read space stuff just wherever you can, not on InfoWars, other places. Get your space news from spacenews.com. It literally is a place you can get space news.
Yeah.
There's plenty of places to learn about science, and there's plenty of places to not be a conspiracy person. Like, don't believe in flat Earth. Don't believe in moon landings. You're living in the fake moon landings.
Yeah.
Don't believe in the moon.
Don't believe in
moon
moon
landings.
landing. All right, cut it right there. That's a sample we'll take. Yeah.
All right.
All right, guys. You all
Robin, thank you so much.
Take
You're
care.
awesome.
Love
We
having
love
you.
all your work. I've looked through all of it.
appreciate it, man. Appreciate
Go
it.
space.
Go space.
Yeah.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Time for a pee break.
Do we need peepees?
This little boy does.
I need a peepee. Here's the deal. We had a quick malfunction there, but we're back on. Cheek, give us a trivia.
We're back on, baby.
The original Truffle Shuffle is from a movie made in the 90s called The Goonies. What did they call the original Truffle Shuffle?
Jay, you're on the spot.
The moops and moves.
Cheek, what's the answer?
E, what was it? What was it?
The Jefferson.
You guessed wrong. Yeah, it's the Jefferson.
You didn't know that. Cheek.
Everyone knows it's the Jefferson.
You let him off the hook. All right. Well,
Wait,
what we were
hold
talking
on.
about before that.
Before you do that, Jay.
You're right.
E was.
Yeah, sorry
I was
about
like 50% on if that's actually the Jefferson. Is that Jefferson, or are you banking on me?
Eli doesn't know.
I've never heard
Eli was
anything
waiting
other
for
than
you to
Truffle
say
Shuffle.
it. Eli was waiting for you to say it.
Obviously.
That's what I was trying to get you to wait.
I'm pretty
Cheek.
sure it was the Jefferson. I could be wrong.
Or the Thomas.
No. Cheers.
That's a choo-choo train.
The Nick Cage.
This could be your whiskey.
This could be
If you're
you.
cool enough.
If you wanted to be a part of this podcast, all you have to do is fill up our cup.
We'll take care of the rest.
And this is the kind of thing we'd say.
You fill up our cup, we'll empty that cup.
God damn, that's good whiskey.
God damn, that's some good whiskey.
Gosh darn, that's some tasty whiskey.
All right, well, back to the conversation.
Let's get on with it.
Because our technical difficulty left us hanging from the last part of it, and all of a sudden they just warp into Cheek asking us a question. A lot of lack of context there. Basically, what we were talking about before was confirmation bias, and the fact that people who believe in conspiracy theories are gonna listen to your, like, say you're arguing with someone who is full on into a conspiracy theory. They're gonna listen to your argument, and they're only gonna pick apart the parts that are weak on your argument or prove their argument right. They're not gonna try to listen for the truths or the common ground. They're not gonna do that. Someone who full on wants to listen to a conspiracy theory, the full-on conspiracy theorist will full-on just listen to the parts that make them feel correct. I'm getting some sign language from Cheek
Quick
over
side
here. Cheek,
note.
you have something to say? Yeah?
I was completely wrong.
Okay.
They just call it the Truffle Shuffle.
No, I knew it.
I don't know why I was thinking they call it the Jefferson.
No, you don't get any credit for that.
I did my own.
Don't try to take
I did
credit.
my own fact checking,
Cheek and his trivia.
and I can admit when I'm wrong. Okay,
Were we on the air for that, or is that just out of context?
edit
now?
that out.
No, we were on air for that.
Edit that out.
No, I'm not editing shit out.
Jay, you fell for it. You
Jay, go.
dubious.
Jay, go. Jay, go take a shit.
Get out of here.
Oh man, I Cheek, you know you're on video, but I certainly enjoyed having Robin on for this podcast.
He's the boy.
I don't know. He is the boy. He's our first podcast guest that didn't say that I'd like to come back, so we'll see what that's about. But I would really like to hear what your thoughts are on this, Cheek. There is a juxtaposition between science and Florida when it comes down to NASA, because Kennedy Space Senate,
The senator of the Space Kennedy?
Kennedy Space Center. Kennedy Space Center is in Florida. Floridians don't necessarily associate themselves with science and forward thinking. That is an absolute speculation and stereotype. But when we're talking about the stereotypical Floridian who is
Florida
Republican,
man.
doesn't care about voting for science, or doesn't want to believe in progressive ideas, that's the kind of guy I'm targeting right here, kind of girl guy. That person doesn't believe in science, but they live in the same peninsula, aka state, that is Florida, that launches spacecraft into space on a bi-daily basis. Cheek, what do you think what kind of culture do you think that brews in Florida, where like you live maybe 3 miles, 4 miles, 20 miles, doesn't matter how many, from the Kennedy space station. How do you maintain that balance of believing things that someone like Donald Trump says with actual space exploration? Put yourself in the shoes of someone who is a hardcore Republican that doesn't believe in science. How do you do that?
I'll tell you what, Jay.
First, you take a sip.
This fine whiskey.
This fine whiskey. We love it. Your name here.
Smooth.
I could be completely wrong here when saying I don't think that it breeds any controversy whatsoever. And this
Really?
is my completely speculative thought process, knowing little to nothing about the thought processes and the right-winged people that make up Florida. So this is what I think. The Kennedy Space Center, whatever you call it, Kennedy Space Center, is that what you call it? Kennedy
Space Station.
I think it employs a lot of people. And I think that Republicans love jobs and they love to...
They love jobs.
Yeah, like anyone. They're not going to necessarily...
They love employment.
They're not going to do something that's going to... or vote against something that's going to get rid of jobs, correct? Like, no one really
Not
would.
knowingly. They do it sometime. A lot of Republicans and Democrats do it without knowing the jobs it eliminates, but yeah.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I think that, I don't think that right-winged people and the Republican base necessarily view NASA and the work that they're doing at the space station as leftist and liberal bullshit, because it's not, and because it's just like not something that they're concerned with. I think that their main priorities are concerned with funding for specific programs. I think that when the issue of funding comes up and you talk about where does NASA's funding come from, I think that's where your implication lies. I don't know where NASA's funding comes from. Does it come from the military, or is it a completely separate branch? Part of me thinks that it comes from the military, but I don't know why I think that, and it could be completely wrong. So I think that if it does come from the military, they could give two shits what they do there as long as it's providing jobs and it's still being funded through the military, because everyone knows that the right loves to vote for increased military spending. If it's not funded by the military and it's a completely separate branch, which it very well might be, and it probably is, I'm probably wrong with that last statement, I think that in general, it just doesn't get enough notoriety, enough media attention, because it has so much less, it's given so much less spending than the other things that are prominent in today's society, being education, healthcare, military, whatever else you might have you. I've had a couple of whiskeys. I can't quite pin down a bunch of other examples there, but my issue there is that it comes down to funding. It depends where NASA is funded through. They like the jobs. They don't want to lose jobs. No one wants to lose jobs. No one wants to lose jobs. Okay, we're gonna give you the most jobs, the best jobs, and it's gonna take you to the moon.
Phenomenal.
And it's gonna take you to Mars. It's phenomenal. Okay. You don't get it. The liberals don't get it. Okay.
Liberals.
No, but that's my take. I think that it all depends on funding. Like, where is the money coming from for NASA? I just don't think that NASA gets enough money that the right cares too much about what's happening there.
I agree. I also don't think that it's even something that they realize is liberal. Like, you see that all gas, no brakes of the rocket launch where there's a lot of people going like, yeah, go Trump. Trump pulled this off.
Yeah.
Like, they credit him to science and rockets and all that.
Well, it's a genius of his campaign is he can take credit for literally anything. He can defund NASA by 70% or whatever he did and still take credit for every launch
Did
they
he
have.
do that? He defunded a lot of NASA?
He defunded NASA. One of the first things he did when he got in office was defund the space
All right,
exploration.
so that must
created his
that
own
must
space branch.
that is so counterintuitive.
Yeah, no, I know. But people, doesn't matter because he can say, he can defund NASA by 100%. Like, he didn't do that, but he can totally, he could delete NASA. And then next day he could say, I love space exploration. And if there is a space launch anywhere in the world, his supporters would be like, that was Trump.
Maybe that move was designed because he founded SpaceX as a branch of the military.
Trump?
yes.
Not SpaceX.
Or
You're
not,
thinking of
yes, I'm
Space
sorry.
Force.
Excuse me.
Space
Yeah.
Space Force, not SpaceX. Two completely different things.
Donald Trump gave birth to Elon Musk. Therefore,
two
founding
completely different
SpaceX.
things. Maybe Trump defunded NASA and tried to fund and create Space Force so that he could perpetuate whatever sort of space exploration or, whatever have you in that realm within the military. And it's not the other branch sector of some organization that he wasn't a fan of, Like, he can just impose a general into leading the branch of Space Force.
Right. I mean, that would be a maniacal plan by a Bond villain, but I don't think he put that much thought into it because there hasn't been that much development in Space Force. Whereas he really just wanted to defund NASA. There hasn't been many advances other than, like, Trump's whole thing is that he's a businessman. He knows how to do things for cheaper, And
Cut the fat.
Are you saying fire all the fat people?
No, I'm saying like cut expenses where you think they aren't necessary.
No, I know. I was making a movie quote reference there, but you didn't get it. It's okay. Move on.
Yeah, I didn't. But
horrible bosses.
But yeah, that's his whole
realize.
that's his whole thing is like no, I don't care. So his whole thing is that he
I'll drink to that.
wants
Good whiskey.
he wants to seem like a businessman. So like SpaceX, I would imagine, I haven't heard his position on, I know he doesn't really like Elon Musk because he's kind of progressive with the fact that he believes in science. But I would imagine that some of Elon Musk's attributes to the US government are agreeable with Trump because Trump is all about saving money. So defunding NASA was a big shit move. Excuse me. Defunding NASA was a big shit move, but SpaceX has saved our government a shitload of money.
Space Force or SpaceX?
SpaceX, because they're a privatized company that are able to reuse the rockets and make rockets at a cheaper cost than the government was able to do. Because, I mean, a lot of people have a complaint that the government is very inefficient with their money, which I agree is true. But yeah, that, I don't know. I guess I don't know what my point was there, but like basically Trump is probably getting a boner over the fact that SpaceX is being contracted out to make space flight cheaper for NASA. And he probably is taking credit for the fact that spaceflight has become cheaper because he defunded NASA and put pressure on them. But really what happened is that he was here at the right time. SpaceX was just developing at this point. No one had this idea. As Robin said earlier, like SpaceX's idea of landing a rocket that they launched into space, landing it vertically back down onto a craft in the middle of the ocean is fucking crazy. As craziness. So you can't give Donald Trump any credit for that.
That's craziness.
That's craziness. Landing it vertically back down on a spacecraft, that's craziness. But of course, Donald Trump will try to take credit for that. He'll say he made space flight cheaper, but really what happened is that he didn't like NASA.
Listen,
So it's
JJ,
Because that's science.
Donald Trump here, your commander-in-chief. I did everything that's good in your life, okay?
You sound like robot Trump right now.
And everything that's bad, I didn't do. I didn't do it, okay? I didn't do it. But anything that's good, I did it. And you know that this administration is the best that you will ever see.
Cheek, it's like when you and I used to play zombies with our friends, and we would split off into two, and whenever our friends died, they would say it was our fault. You know?
Oh, those types.
Yeah, every time they died, they would say it's our fault and it's our duty to pick them up. And when we would revive them, they would take credit for still being alive.
They're doing so well up until they manage to fail, and then they come out with all that. Oh, why weren't you there? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do that?
Just imagine playing zombies with Trump. Like, he would just be like, so I was doing the best I could, but you took away all the good guns from me. And so I ended up failing, and now it's your job to revive me.
And
like
you
that
lost, and you lost the rights to the good controller, so now pass sticks.
Yeah,
Give me the golden controller that's not jank. that type of kid.
That kid.
That's been a thought I've had recently about how just like dysfunctional, like if you hung out one-on-one with some like elite asshole like Jeff Bezos or Trump or Jared Kushner or someone, like you would hate being around them. Like imagine playing basketball and you're playing knockout and like
they're such babies, they can't accept outcomes.
You would play you play them and be like, all right, they'd be the type of dude to be like, oh, winner's ball, not loser's ball. Like they score and they keep scoring.
Yeah.
That type.
Well, that's
like,
street.
whatever
That's street
goes
ball.
with the momentum.
That's street ball. So get with it.
Well, Cheek's like that too. So
You never
Cheek's one of those guys.
played proper street rules. I thought you were from Chi-Town. I thought you were from Chicago. I thought you knew how they
all right,
play.
let's bring it to Zoms.
So you don't.
Yeah.
You're not a big baller. I get that. That's whatever.
oh, Cheek.
You got me,
Here's
Cheek.
to-
Check
Oh,
me.
Cheek.
You're just a poser,
concede.
and I knew it all along, Eli.
I miss Robin.
I was only point guard in middle school basketball.
Nancy Pelosi
biggie.
said that you were real, and I knew that you weren't, and I told the media that you weren't, but they didn't listen. They didn't listen. I don't know why they didn't. But
I wish your Trump accent wasn't so good. I would end you
but
so
I
much
was right.
earlier.
I was right all along.
Cheek,
Okay.
can you give us like can you sing the can in a Trump accent?
Can you do the can? Can you do the can? Can you do the can? I don't know how the can goes, actually.
That was exactly
can you
it.
do that?
Can you do the can? Can you do the can?
Can you do the can?
I can't imagine seeing a Donald Trump skirt while he's doing the kicks for the can.
Lift up the skirt, kicking up the heels.
Here's a question. If you could be present in any Donald Trump moment, what would it be?
Present in what way? Like
Just
right
like
there,
a fly
like
on the wall,
next to him?
or just like seeing what's going on. For me, it would be the Times issue where he was being photographed with the eagle, or I think it was the eagle or a falcon.
Oh,
and
that'd be sick.
it was released later that like it was freaking out and he was scared as shit.
That's awesome. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Like I would have loved
Him-
to fucking see that.
Trump with a falcon.
I think it was an eagle.
when
It
he's,
makes
like,
sense. It was
freaking
probably
out,
an
'cause
eagle.
Yeah.
It's probably because like
Yeah.
you look at it and you see the picture and it's like, oh, Trump is a badass, but you see the behind the scenes
It's like
and
he could
he's just
not
like
handle
peeing his
shit.
pants and his little floppy little tits are just like flapping around and it's just not.
Get this
I
thing off
imagine the
me.
most fun The most fun Trump would be behind the scenes.
Slapping an American eagle.
Yeah, he probably slapped it.
Yeah, he probably hit that American eagle. He hates
Oh,
America.
behind the scenes, he probably just like abused that thing.
Yeah.
He probably spanked it with a cover of a magazine that his face was on. I don't know. Some Stormy Daniels reference. I don't know.
Place your Stormy Daniel references here. Cheek. Can you improv some Joker for us? We haven't heard a Joker all season.
I'm not doing Joker this season. I'm not doing it.
This whole season,
what's
you're
your
not
deal,
going to?
bro? Can we address this? Like, what's your deal? What's going on?
Can we dig deep into this?
I don't want.
Why is this a thing?
I'll tell you what. I don't want to be identified as a one-sided impersonist. I don't want to be only known for one impression. So this is the season where I show my flexibility and my diversity.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
That's like LeBron claiming that he doesn't want to be known for being good at basketball.
You heard it on season.
I agree with you.
You heard it on season 1. If you want to hear the Joker impressions, go listen to season 1. You know, this season you might get some Donald Trump. You might get some of this. You might get some of that. You might get something else. I got a lot of impressions.
No, you're talking about diversity. I get that. You're talking about diversity.
So
do an English accent.
Do an English Joker accent.
No, you are diverse, Cheek. You're so diverse at accents. Give us a new one.
Maybe every season I'll just do a different impression.
I really do think we should commit to new laughs for new seasons.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't do that for this season, but...
Jay, give us a new good laugh. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Every other is a
Cheek,
ridiculous influx.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna take this from a coworker of mine who is his job
and a drinker.
I love that. No, but so I'm taking this from my boy Zach, and I'm not gonna say anything to him outside the podcast. So this will be a true test if he listens or not. He says he does, but I don't believe him.
All right, Zach.
Yeah, Zach. Let's see what you're
at us.
Let's
if you
fucking
listen
see
to
what
this,
you're made of. He follows us on
bitch.
he follows us on Twitter, but I don't know if he actually listens. So
that's not necessarily enough, Zach. All right. Okay. So if you really fucking appreciate our content, why don't you do something about it?
So this is his
Cheek, go ahead.
his laugh. His laugh is kind of a. Like I'll say, oh, the Bills are going to beat the Patriots, and he'll just be like, it's like always the exhale. It's, I'm just like,
how is it so methodical? Is he in charge of elves?
Is he in charge of elves?
He's not Santa.
Yeah.
And it's not a ho, it's a huh. It's like,
is he in charge of elves? Only people with that specific laugh can be in charge of elves.
Like you'll say something funny
just rip.
and you'll be like, oh, Eli's good at Warzone. And he'll be like,
Does he move his mouth?
That's my favorite one.
no, he doesn't.
My favorite
His mouth is
my
just
favorite laugh is people who
It's almost like he's gasping for breath or something.
I'm really excited
The
about
fish
the end
mouth.
of this episode just being us exchanging laughs.
This is way too much. You gotta cut some of this.
Nah. But all right. So, have you ever met anyone who has a mouth laugh, Cheek?
Mouth. I don't think I pay attention to the mouth too much.
The mouth laugh. You would know.
I know what you're saying. But
It's like a.
I don't think I know anyone with an.
They're like opening and closing their mouth, but it has nothing. Like you can laugh without opening and closing your mouth, right? Like you can say.
It's unnatural, I think.
It's a
to close your
natural
mouth while you
noise
do.
to not do it with your mouth, but there are some people who like move their mouth as if they're like talking with a laugh. So it's like, so they can't comfortably do it without that mouth movement.
I think the laugh is all derived from the breath and has nothing to do with like what's
was that
going
so
on
funny?
with the lips?
I felt like he was saying something. He thought he was saying something profound.
Yeah, grabbing his chest, one big release.
I feel like the laugh begins with the chest.
And the breath.
With the breath.
Like think about yourself cracking up.
yeah.
Your mouth is just open.
Let me think.
It's about the diaphragm.
Yeah, totally true. Totally true. It's like when you're really losing it and you can barely catch your breath, you're just wheezing.
Yeah, exactly.
It is just breathing in the end. It's someone said something so funny
No, that was stupid.
that you just can't breathe anymore.
No.
No? Cheek, you're just mad that I was making fun of you earlier. It's all right, Cheek. Now we're even.
What started this about laughs? I can't even remember where we were.
I don't know.
I don't know, but look at this little boy's butt right here.
Is that a little? Oh my god!
If you're not watching YouTube, you're missing out on this boy's chiseled butt.
That is a booty.
Bambino's butt.
That is a booty.
He's like what, 8 years old? Check out his chiseled butt.
Oh no, but judging off these tits, he's at least 7.
All right, I think.
All right, let's get back to
can
it.
you stop
I think we should end this
fantasizing
episode.
about little boys and their tits?
I'm not
I think it's-
fantasizing. I'm just
He's
going
not
off of
fantasizing.
basic
I think it's
science.
bad
He's
for our
logistically
podcast.
adding up age-wise. Cheek, you know what's bad for our podcast?
Me not doing a Joker impression, Nathan?
Exactly.
Well, no, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say you coming late to the podcast, but yeah, the Joker impersonation. Make it better. Let's go. My
Father.
was
Cheek, finish it off.
Can't do it.
my father was a can't do it. That's not the
My
quote.
father was. He can't do it. Oh, very true.
All right. Well, I do think we should wrap it up.
We're not wrapping
Wrap it up.
anything up.
All right, Cheek. You're holding our listeners hostage.
You stay on the line right now.
All right. I'm ending
Just
this.
got
I'm
deleted.
ending this podcast. This has been nonsense for way too long.
All right. Good night.
We love you. All right. The last thing we want to say to you is our favorite constellation. All right, E, what's your favorite constellation?
Tittleman's Crest.
Oh, that's a good reference.
All right, Cheek, what's yours?
Old Dipper, because I got a little dipper.
Old
Dipster.
Dipper.
A little dipper.
Hips, knees.
Orion's broken knee.
No, my favorite constellation is hips, knees for sure. Wait,
double down
can
on
we
that.
please? You know how you can like name a star?
Can we? Yeah, we can
Can-
buy. You can buy the
constellation.
Can Podcast Bozo please buy a star or a constellation and call it
Name it
hips, knees?
You can buy a constellation, but we should buy like a patch of stars, but just name it hips, knees based on one of the stars.
Oh my
Like, just
god!
like one of them. Hips, knees.
Nothing.
All right, so this
Nothing
podcast
would make me happier.
on 3. Let's harmonize with hips, knees. 3 or 1, 2, 3.
Hips, knees.